In the spring of 1925, a weathered British explorer stood at the edge of the Brazilian wilderness and prepared to walk into the unknown. His name was Percy Fawcett, and he believed that somewhere in the uncharted heart of the Amazon lay the ruins of an ancient, sophisticated civilization. He called it simply the City of Z. He was so certain of its existence that he was willing to stake his life, his reputation, and the life of his own son to find it. What happened next became one of the most enduring mysteries in the history of exploration. Percy Fawcett was not a dreamer plucked from obscurity. He was a decorated soldier, a trained surveyor, and one of the most respected men working for the Royal Geographical Society. For years he had mapped the tangled borders between Bolivia and Brazil, trekking through territory that had swallowed other men whole. He survived starvation, disease, hostile encounters, and rivers full of piranha and anaconda. Fellow explorers considered him almost supernaturally tough, a man who seemed immune to the jungle's endless attempts to kill him. It was during these expeditions that Fawcett became obsessed with a startling idea. The prevailing view of his era held that the Amazon was too harsh, too barren, to have ever supported a great civilization. But Fawcett saw things that made him doubt that assumption. He heard indigenous legends of ancient cities. He examined old Portuguese documents describing stone ruins hidden deep in the forest. Slowly, he became convinced that a lost metropolis was waiting to be rediscovered and that finding it would rewrite everything the world thought it knew about the Americas. The most tantalizing clue came from a document known as Manuscript 512, written by a Portuguese explorer in 1753. It described a party of adventurers who stumbled upon a dead city deep in the Brazilian interior, with paved streets, towering arches, and inscriptions carved into stone. To most scholars it read like a fantasy. To Fawcett, it was a map to destiny. He merged this account with his own theories and folklore into a single burning conviction, that Z was real, and that he was the man fated to walk through its gates. After years of setbacks, delays, and the interruption of the First World War, Fawcett finally secured funding for a definitive expedition. This time he kept his team deliberately small, just 3 men. Alongside him traveled his 21-year-old son Jack, strong and eager, and Jack's close friend Raleigh Rimmel. Fawcett believed a small group would move faster and appear less threatening to the peoples they might encounter. In April 1925, the 3 men set out from the frontier town of Cuiabá and pushed toward the wild region Fawcett had marked on his maps. On the 29th of May, 1925, Fawcett sent out what would become his final message. From a place he called Dead Horse Camp, he wrote a letter to his wife Nina, carried back by native guides. He described their progress, his optimism, and his determination to press on. His last written words were confident and calm: "You need have no fear of any failure." Then the 3 men crossed into the unknown, beyond the reach of any messenger. After that, there was only silence. At first, no one panicked. Fawcett had warned that the expedition could take months, even years, and had explicitly instructed that no rescue party should come looking for him if he disappeared. He feared that others would only die trying to follow. So the world waited. Months passed. Then a year. Then 2. As the silence stretched on, unease hardened into dread. The most capable explorer of his generation had walked into the jungle with his son and simply failed to walk back out. The disappearance ignited a global obsession. Newspapers splashed the story across their front pages, and the missing men became legends overnight. Despite Fawcett's warnings, rescue expeditions poured into the Amazon determined to solve the riddle. The result was catastrophic. Over the following decades, it is estimated that as many as 100 people died or vanished themselves while searching for Fawcett, killed by disease, starvation, drowning, or violence. The lost city had claimed not only its discoverer, but a long procession of those who hunted for his ghost. Theories multiplied to fill the void. Some believed the 3 men had been killed by an indigenous group whose territory they had entered uninvited. Others suggested they had starved or fallen ill and died quietly in the wilderness, their bones long since reclaimed by the forest. Over the years, rumors surfaced of a wild, blue-eyed man living among remote tribes, and even a story that Fawcett had suffered amnesia and become the leader of a jungle community, forgetting the world he left behind. In 1951, a tribal chief claimed his people had killed Fawcett, and a set of bones was recovered and shipped to London for examination. hopes ran high that the mystery was finally closed. But when experts studied the skeleton, they concluded it did not match Fawcett's known measurements at all. The bones belonged to someone else. Every promising lead seemed to dissolve the moment it was touched, leaving investigators exactly where they had started, staring into an impenetrable green wall of trees. The strangest twist of all is that Fawcett may have been right. For decades, scholars dismissed his lost city as the fantasy of an obsessed man. But modern archaeology, using satellite imaging and ground surveys, has revealed the traces of vast ancient settlements hidden beneath the Amazon canopy, networks of roads, plazas, causeways, and earthworks that once supported large, organized populations. The jungle, it turns out, did conceal the remnants of a complex civilization. Fawcett died chasing something that genuinely existed, even if it was not exactly the golden city he imagined. And so the fate of Percy Fawcett, his son Jack, and young Raleigh Rimmel remains unknown to this day. Nearly a century later, no confirmed trace of the three men has ever been found, no camp, no grave, no reliable account of their final hours. They stepped past the last outpost of the known world and were erased from it completely. Somewhere beneath the endless canopy of the Amazon, their story ended in a way no one has ever been able to explain. The lost city may have been found. The men who died searching for it never were.